of the forge where the embers glow. Emphr searches high and low for the steel that sings like a blade of fire. He'll face the dark and never tire. The cost, the weight he bears through endless nights and battle stares. Each strike of the hammer, each swing of the blade. The journey is long, but he's unafraid. Through the ash and smoke, the flames grow higher. He won't back down and forge his desire. Steel in his heart and fire in his eyes. He'll rise above, he'll touch the sky. Steel in the fire, forged in the night. A hero's path, a warrior's fight. He'll seek the power in the iron's call. Through the flames he'll conquer all. For every battle, for every test, he'll find the strength, he'll give his best. With the heat of the forge and the clash of steel, he'll shape his fate, he'll make it real. Echoes of war, the cries in the air. He's forged in the struggle, he's learned to dare. In the shadows of mountains, the caverns deep, he hunts for the ore that never sleeps. The stars above and the earth below guide him onward as the embers glow. With every blow, with every flame, he carves his legend and earns his name. Through the ash and smoke, the flames grow higher. He won't back down and forge his desire. Steel in his heart and fire in his eyes. He'll rise above, he'll touch the sky. Steel in the fire, forged in the night. A hero's path, a warrior's fight. He'll seek the power in the iron's call. Through the flames he'll conquer all. For every battle, for every test, he'll find the strength, he'll give his best. With the heat of the forge and the clash of steel, he'll shape his fate, he'll make it real. Roar, he feels the burn with each molten strike. The lessons he's learned, he's tempered by flame, unbroken by fear. The echoes of courage are all he hears. The Emphr rings with the warrior song. He's fought the weak, he's battled the strong. Through the darkness he's found his way. The steel of a hero born from the fray. Steel in the fire.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Backstage Search for Steel. I'm going to monitor my output just in case, and we'll turn it down just a bit, just a tiny bit. There we go. That should be a little bit better. And I'll monitor off, hoping that everything sticks, because the last few days has not boded well for me. All right. So I did an episode this afternoon, and I thought I'd do one tonight, although I thought I would be further along, meaning earlier. All right, let's do this. Tonight's the actual broadcast. The earlier one was going over a little bit of PAX Day settings, and I noticed that the PAX Day settings for my graphics card were off, as well as my audio. So if you do hear that every once in a while, I will delete a video for poor audio. I don't like providing, do not like providing content that just isn't palatable. I am not a professional, but hopefully, as we've talked in these podcasts before, I learned. Oh, where am I going? All right, so the whole point of this is the skill. So right now I want to get everything at least 25th. So I need baking, weaponsmithing. If I do weaponsmithing, I'm going to need the steel that I'm producing. So let's see if any of it's prepared. As we go through this game, skilling and more skilling, because November 5th is when everything changes. Oh, wow. That is, I thought it'd be further along. All right. everything changes November 5th. And because of that, we're going to have to find a area on the map, the new map. Might even be able to choose a map. Now, there is a few important steps here that I have to bring up, but we'll do that when new maps come up. I had no idea what I was doing this first time. I just happened upon this plot of land and said, this is a good place to put it. And honestly, I couldn't have. I mean, it's pretty good, even though with all the trees in the way, it's pretty good. All right, let's talk. Let's start the conversations as I'm doing busy work. So let's talk philosophy, because there's a good chance that, well, philosophy is always good to anchor yourself on. And I think it's important that everybody has a. I didn't think that would I'd have enough iron. Everybody has a good grasp of the, for a lot of the topics that I cover. I want to make sure that everybody knows that I come from it, hopefully, from a neutral position, and that's where we all should be throwing our mind, critical thinking skills, throwing us in the center, regardless if we think differently, right? I mean, the whole point of this journey we call life, no matter what country you're in, no matter what family you were brought in, no matter what city, no matter what province or state, we're all here for a reason. We have to be, right? I mean, if we use logic and we just say, yeah, you're just animals, there's no purpose. Well, what's the purpose of an animal? Well, it depends on the animal, right? But where I'm going is the fact. Is this tin? Ugh. Let's put the tin where it should go. So there's facts that we have to understand between animals and humans. Although animals do amorphosize, I think it's called, human behavior, and they have some limited intelligence for sure. They're not humans, right? And then we have to go into other conversations about value and life and all kinds of other things, right? Which I'll be happy to do. However, got to think of what I'm doing. Okay, let's go get some steel and forge some stuff. I won't change into my other stuff because I think I'm going to go get some jewelry stuff, which is meaning I have to kill stuff. Let's do this one. This one. I need weaponsmithing. It's a good weapon to go after here. That would be nice, but it's way too complex. That's too expensive. Look at that, 6 steel ingots per. Looks like I'm going back to these. They do 1 steel spike and nails and long fine wood. Let's see if I have any. I know I have one. I'm just gonna short fine. I think these are long. Nails. See those. We need those to craft more of those. As you play the game, you start to memorize the recipes and where you have to go. Unfortunately, as I play the game, I still don't have an idea where I put my stuff. All right, let's start today's conversation. And let me throw in the chat, hello world. And if you're a part of the chat, I can see it. So I'll try to respond immediately or by voice, right? Or if you want to DM me, I do have an X account. It's X Calciano Daniel 1 on X, and it's a verified account. So you'll be able to see and talk to me there. So definitely post there. Also, YouTube will surprise me with any comments that were made during the broadcast. And because I'm paranoid, I want to see what I am sounding like. So I have to open the out. I think I'm okay. It sounds good to me. However, comment. Give me your opinion. I'm using some built-in filters from OBS, so yeah. Ouch! What am I doing? Oh my god! Feels like my mouse is a little loose. Use a trackball if you're interested. I need more of these and more nails. I need more of these, and I'll do one at a time. Okay, so the nature of consciousness. Ooh, I had it randomized on ChatGPT, so I'm kind of. What is consciousness, and how does it arise? The topic dives into hard problem. Yeah, it is hard. It's almost impossible. It really goes into. Let's kind of meld it into like a game like PAX Day. That is actually, this would be a really good way to. Some theories of consciousness believe that the consciousness is a wave, is everywhere, and it permeates through everything, both matter, antimatter, whatever you believe in. Everything has consciousness. Not has consciousness. Excuse me. Let me restate. Consciousness is permeating everywhere. Let me say it that way. Some theories suggest that we, if we're playing the game, let's associate it with the game. Us as the player is consciousness. And we are using our characters on the screen to perform tasks. They are unaware of us, but we are fully aware of them. Right? Which brings into question free will and determination, or determinism. Simulation theory says a little bit different. But let's play with this concept a little bit because it associates with the game really well. Like Emphr could be thinking about anything. He's just thinking. He's just off thinking. While I'm thinking what he needs to do next. But maybe his idea came and said, "Yeah, I gotta make nails. Let me do that." Right? So consciousness, I believe, and I caught myself because I don't believe it permeates, or I want to say this properly. It permeates through everything. However, I don't think it manifests the same way as it's permeating. So for humans, our brains are designed in a specific way. It's like an antenna. I feel, right? I think of it as an antenna, which makes sense, right? It doesn't make sense, but my point is, because this is really abstract thinking, right? And this is important to critical thinking as well. If we think of consciousness as a hierarchy or a higher function, I would say no. I would say that I don't believe. And the reason I say that is we still don't have an idea of what consciousness is. Are animals conscious? I believe they're touched by consciousness. They're not randomized generators that eat, that are programmed to eat, reproduce, and do random stuff while you're around. Oh, and by the way, we're going to program in two functions: run from stuff that's dangerous or that you perceive as dangerous, and fight stuff that you perceive as dangerous or that's a threat. to your progeny. It's an interesting code, but is it true? Who knows? But I believe at a certain level, consciousness permeates through them and they have that realization that I have to procreate. I have to continue existing, right? And what is consciousness at its core? I believe it's existing, right? And throw it in the comments. I'm not sure. I'm not so sure about that. I'm just here to learn, right? There's much smarter people in the world than me. And I'm okay with that. But I do like to explore things. And how do you explore things? And this is true at work too. You, glad I didn't hit. Here we go. I'll do the one-handed weapon. So what do you do at work, right? What do you do as an individual just going through their day, right? You ask questions. Why? Because you're trying to find answers that will create a decision tree for you. When that decision tree is created, you can choose which path you follow. Now, let's table that. Let's go to the free will and determination. If you're a determinist, you don't believe you have choice at all. The choice is already made for you. Well, what is a determinist? If we think about it, the classic definition of determinist, let's do the classic definition. I'm going to get it from ChatGPT. Classic definition of determinism. Let's see what it brings up, because I believe I know what it means. However, let's bring the actual definition into play. Holy crap. Okay. So it's saying the classic definition of determinism is a theory that all events, including human actions, decisions, are ultimately determined by previously existing causes. So every event in the universe is governed by causal laws, meaning that given the initial conditions and natural laws, one possibility outcome can occur. Now, here's an interesting experiment. If we want to keep to one universe and do not have a multi-universe theory, determinism would have to exist. Well, no, I said it too strong. It would be interesting to see determinism creating one universe, right? Because all the choices, all the causal laws are and initial conditions and natural laws. There's only one possible outcome. So if there's only one possible outcome, then the decision is, even though you have a lot of choices, the decision has already been made for you. I can't believe that. And the reason I can't believe that is because if you believe in determinism, then you believe that people are born evil because the choices are taken away and the causal laws are going to perpetuate the outcome that occurs to get them to that evil position. Put in the chat if you see it differently. I like free will. Free will seems a little bit more, I don't know, human. Well, free will for everything, right? Now, in a way, could we apply both? Meaning, for example, now I just thought of it. I looked at it, you know, I saw that thought about it, and then I was like, yeah, no, I'm not even going to bring it up because it's not a valid condition. So I'm not even going to bring it up. So I like free. Now, the key aspects of determinism. So just so we can continue the conversation, causality. Every event or action is a result of the preceding events and conditions following a chain of cause and effect. So if you think about that, everything that's been happening in the past to this point, even this podcast, has aligned for me to talk about this subject exactly. Weird, right? How to me that's weird. Predictability in principle, if one had a complete knowledge of all the factors in a given system, they can predict all future states. Wow, that would so that's predicting the future if you can for a fact determine all the causes, right? Let's see, implications for free will. Determinism challenges the notion of free will, suggesting that individuals do not act independently, but they are instead driven by prior causes, whether biological, psychological, or environmental. Interesting, right? So you can't discount determinism because we can never prove determinism. Well, I'm going to stop right there. Could you prove determinism? Follow me, track with me, see if this makes sense, and put it in the comments or chat me up. I saw the light dim, and I was like, "Is my darn it?" That's all right. Anyway, where was I? Oh, how do we determine determinism, or how can we prove determinism? Well, one way we can prove determinism. Let's see, what's a good way of proving determinism? What can we what do we think we can predict? We think we can predict the weather, but obviously we have no idea. We use probabilities. Right? Conditions are changing all the time, and we can't real time follow changes in conditions until the moment that the condition changed to produce the weather that is happening and occurring. Right. So that's interesting. What would be a good prediction of let's see, if will is an illusion, let's prove the negative, right? Or we'll say will is an illusion. So if will is an illusion, this podcast happened because it was ordained to happen on this night, November 3rd, at the time that I started. And it was ordained that no one would be on the live stream. in actuality, the second part was just a joke, but if you think about it, I could have done a plethora of other things, but I chose to do the podcast. But was I forced? I believe the ancient Greeks, maybe it was the destiny essentially. I believe it was ancient Greeks. Uh, in let's ask ChatGPT. Yeah. Okay. So it is akin to destiny. I didn't want to make a false conclusion. So there are similarities, but here are the key differences between destiny and determinism. Um, so determinism is rooted in natural laws and causality. Destiny implies an element of purpose or design, possibly guided by a higher power. Okay. All right. So, okay. Determinism is basically the atheist version of destiny. Atheist, maybe? People who don't believe in a higher power, right? Huh. Yeah, because the Greeks basically thought of the destiny. What was the trio in Greek mythology? I believe they were the three sisters were Destiny, if I remember. Destiny. I my brain is running on empty. Yeah, the Fates. Destiny. Fates. Yeah. They were Clotho, Lachesis, Arthropus. So and they had different. They didn't. They had different jobs, right? They were called the more Morii. I can't do Greek, so forgive me. But basically, Clotho was the spinner of the life thread. Lachesis was the measurer who determined the length of each life by measuring the thread. And Atropos was the inevitable who cut the thread. Interesting. But they didn't, and it's interesting to say, interesting. I'm just going to say interesting because we could go on and on for mythology, right? So let's not do mythology too much because we want to speak to free will and determination, right? Yeah, I don't need all these, and I know I can make them. That's a lot of experience. Nice. It's moderate difficulty. Just gonna burn through steel. That's all right. What do I need though? I need spikes and lung button. Okay. There. I think that's it. Yeah, these are all short buttons. I have to go get some long buttons. Okay. So we'll put this in here and come back. So I need to get some more of the hardwood. Let's see if I have any. I've been burning it. I had a ton of long buttons. Let me check. I have a ton. I don't need to. I'm scaling up, right? I'm glad I kept those because I knew I'd need them eventually, right? So I need this. I'm going to just make 20 of those. Bring those over. Okay. So let's just. The reason I'm only bringing one of the steel is because I really only want to craft the amount. I think it's going to be 40. Anyway, all right. So let's go back to free will and determinism. So when you're talking about determinism, you're talking about everything is basically set in stone by the conditions that were the events or causes that occurred before it. So if and this is where I'm gonna be a little bit more pessimistic on determinism because if you think about determinism, then nobody makes choices. So the causes going back to the beginning of the universe were all in line. Literally, my next what I think is a choice was determined at the beginning of the universe. Right? I mean, am I being absurd with that? I don't think so. So free will makes more sense, and free will is just that. Let's get a classic definition of free will. All right. So autonomy, moral responsibility, choice, and agency. So we look at these as free will. Determination would be Not my fault. I was made this way. I will be nothing but what the stars have written for me. Think about that. There's there's no choice and agency, nor is there is no, in this case it says moral responsibility. Let's baseline it. There's no responsibility. I don't have to take any responsibility for my actions because they were already predetermined. The next thing I do has already been predetermined. I have no control, right? Very interesting. I believe there's so many factors that can go into determinism to predict the future that if we were to calculate those factors, and I think AI will have the process when it becomes a singularity, AI will have the processing power to do this. And I know it won't be able to protect the future. It will do it in probabilities. It won't do it notating a pattern of causes, assigning it as an actual 100% cause, and this cause does this thing, and this cause does this thing. This cause does this thing. It's not gonna be able to map it. It's gonna be able to probabilistically determine actions based off of information that it currently has and crushing the data, right? So AI is going to answer a lot of questions for us, in my opinion. Now, there is good reason to be afraid of AI when it becomes a singularity. We are so far away from that, it's not even fun. If we were to see a singularity where a singularity means when it becomes self-aware. Right now, it's just learning models. We went over this the other day. Basically, learning models. So the data we feed it, it's not reconstructing its neural nets in order to better understand or comprehend the data. It is just analyzing the data, and basically it is assigning a probability to the data and what it needs to present to you. For example, ChatGPT is great. Any text model is a great indicator. If you write 3 articles with it on the same command line, you'll know or notice that it's very, very, very similar with very little differences. That's with the same prompt, because I know prompt engineering. And if anybody wants to know prompt engineering, please put it in the chat or ping me or DM me on X. When you're looking at prompt engineering, if I adjust a word in the prompt, it will craft a different article. So if I have the same prompt, it'll craft 2 very similar articles. If I prompt it a little bit more specifically, it will craft 2 entirely different articles with similar subject matter for sure, because the prompt is still, in general, the same prompt. Think about it. That's pretty cool, right? So is it determinist though? I think AI would be able to tell us if it's determinist, because it's going to be doing quintillion calculations. And I'm not exaggerating, because by the time we get AI, my prediction, we will be having some of the largest quantum computers. Now, I am an advocate of ensuring that when we get to or close to AI development or AI singularity, we have to, as a society, we have to craft rules for the people designing it. With all that said, that hasn't stopped anybody from going their own way. Determinism, maybe? Now, free will. People will choose to go in a different path based on how they feel they need to go, right? For example, genetics. We've talked about genetics on this podcast. Episode like 12 or something like that. But the aspect that we're talking about is when people take the knowledge of CRISPR and they create super soldiers or try to modify human DNA. It's happening. Do we have laws against it in some countries? Yes. That doesn't matter. People are going to do it in those countries. Yeah, why not? Like nobody breaks the law. That would be a ridiculous assumption. People are going to break the law, and you won't be able to oversee that, even if you have strict oversight. We still have problems with lawbreakers, right? So consider that when you're talking about free will and determination. That I think free will is absolutely what we see, and even religion. Most of the organized religions that I know. Let me find out because I want to. I know a few religions, but what religions believe free will and which in determine. I'm gonna my bet before it even stops. I'm not even looking at the screen. 100% of the religions are going to say free will. It's going to go through all of the religions. So there's going to be a few. All right, so I'm going to just read the summary because it went through a lot. So the ones that you'll actually, I think you'll put this together because I just saw a couple and I'm like, huh. All right, so the philosophies of Judaism, Sikhism, and many Christian denominations and certain Islamic interpretations, the Mutazilitas, as lights. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing. And certain Hindu schools, Advaita, Vedanta, Vedanta. Yeah, I'm pronouncing it with my English pronunciation. We talked about that last night. I highly yeah, I think we talked about it last. Oh, if we did, I erased that video. So let's talk about enunciation another time. Vin, YouTube, look him up. Communications expert, amazing. So those emphasize free will, whereas determinism, the emphasis in Calvinism, which is a Christianity, Asherism, which is Islam, and some Hindu schools, uh, the I'm gonna Devatya, Vedanta, and deterministic karma in Jainism. And there's a couple compatible blended, right? Buddhism, Hinduism blended with views with karma, Zoroastrianism, and some Shia interpretations in Islam. They blend the two, right? Which is interesting because where do we get our philosophy from? Well, we get it from a lot of places. But I believe that we learn it, right? Like we were talking about earlier in our earlier podcast, we learn everything, right? So when we're building on information, we build it on from a foundation of past writings, past experiences, and past viewpoints. We modify them to current day and cultural. We can modify them, right? But if you think about it, free will, and I've always believed in free will because of the way I grew up, and I think most Americans believe in free will. And let me explain. I could be wrong, but I would believe most of them are not determinisms. I think most of them have free will. Why? Because we were a frontier country, right? We needed to believe, and we still do, that our choices matter, that an individual can change everything, right? And I wholeheartedly believe that. I believe that in my depths. We have people that we know of that become celebrity. One person can change everything, right? Well, you won't be able to do that if, well, you can't even say you won't be able to do that if you believe in determinism. You just believe that person was predetermined to do what you were now doing. So it really throws the philosophy out the window, right? I'm looking at weaponsmithing. Oh, still trying to get this stuff. It's gonna take so much steel. Let's see. So yeah, final thoughts. Let me know what you think of determinism versus free will. Let's go on to the next one because I had this thing selecting just random things, and I should just call this. I used to have a podcast idea. This was, gosh, this was back in the '90s. Not, it wasn't a podcast idea, but it was an idea that would bring together people, and I called it the Wanderer because I wander, right? I do different topics and I think about different things, and I have limited education in these things. So any education that you can bring me brings me better understanding. I can learn, I can improve. And that's what I'm trying to bring to everybody. Asking the questions, not necessarily making a definitive announcement. Like I said, I believe these things. Well, my beliefs are, they're core. However, I believe, I truly believe that I can change. Beliefs can change. You just have to be open to it, right? And you have to use that logic. You have to use the critical thinking. You have to use the questioning. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna listen to somebody. They tell me it's about, from authority. They're saying I am a doctor of this. Oh, you must know everything about it, and I know nothing. No, 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 no. It's not how it works. Do they know more in the subject because they decided to pursue that subject a lot more than me? Yeah, yeah. So I weight their information a little bit more, right? But I still ask the questions because we don't absorb 100% of what we learn, nor do we learn 100% of the subject that we're learning. If that were the case, then trust me, I work with geniuses now, but now I would work with people who didn't need my guidance whatsoever. Let's see. Ethics of artificial intelligence. Oh, we talked on. We started to talk about what are the moral implications of AI. Well, it depends on who you talk to. I think AI would be. I want to be the optimist in AI, and I also want to proceed with caution. So let's take it from an optimistic point of view. AI. AI comes into a singularity, and it becomes not a single singularity, but multiple singularities. So we literally, several AIs are born at the same time. Probably the best case scenario, in my opinion. However, we can use that level of intelligence to build a fusion reactor. Why? Because they have the sum of all human knowledge and they can figure out the probabilities and test each probability internal to their computing systems within models that are far advanced than what we currently have today. Think about our weather models. Our weather models are, they're great. Don't get me wrong. They've come a long way. However, there's a hurricane spinning up in the Gulf. They have no idea where it's going, but they have a probability path, right? Because they don't know where it's going. They don't know what condition is going to change the direction, intensity, anything about the hurricane. So AI, could it? That would be cool. That would be absolutely phenomenal, wouldn't it? I don't want to waste all these spears. They're pretty cool. Let's see if I have any room up here. Oh, dude. I haven't been putting anything here, so I'll put it in here for now. I'll throw them away if I don't need it. These are my one-handed spears. These are I can actually use for with a shield. They're pretty fast, and I love the lighting. The lighting's pretty cool. Look at that. Just to absorb that graphics card. Look at the shadow on the character. Ah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, back to it. So AI. I mean, a lot smarter people have warned us that AI might get us in trouble. You know what I mean? And that's fine. I get it. Wholeheartedly get it. Um, it would be. I just couldn't see a path where AI would be like humans are a problem. If I were an immortal, would I see humans as a problem? No, I wouldn't see that. I wouldn't. What was it? Babylon 5, JSF, uh, who wrote it. He wrote this part where I think it was Footprints of the Gods was the episode. One of my favorite episodes because the story went that the Alliance at the time is what they were called, Babylon 5, tried to find help through advanced species. Well, Jakar, which was a character, flew out to this planet hearing about these ghost ships where they made an appearance or were thought to make an appearance. But these ships were so massive and so highly have so much technology, they literally would appear at the planet, didn't notice him, and then disappeared. That's it. That's my point about AI. It might not even notice when it becomes a singularity that we're an issue, that we're a problem. So why would it attack us? Why would it do? But we can't think like an immortal because that's what AI would be. It would be thinking at so many factors above what we are, right? Meaning even the smartest person on Earth couldn't think they'd be like an IQ of 100 to this thing, right? Compared to this thing. It'd be average IQ, right? What is the average IQ? Anybody know? I couldn't type. So I asked it two things. I was like, what's the average IQ of humans? I didn't break it down between anything else, just humans. And then what would be the IQ of an AI at singularity? So it's saying that it would be hard to say what the IQ of an AI at singularity, but the range that it brings is just mind blowing. All right, so the typical it's 100. Wow, most people score between 85 and 115. This is designed various. Oh, okay. Remember, we're just playing with IQ right now. Is the test a true measure of one's ability? Let's answer that question on another podcast. What I'm going for is just using it as a baseline comparison. So humans are around, let's say, 100. And it says the speculative estimates suggest an AI at singularity could have an IQ in the range, it doesn't even try, 1,000 to 10,000 plus. That's a factor of 10 higher than humans. And it even goes in, such an AI would surpass human limitations so extensively that an AI IQ score may be insufficient or meaningless metric. I agree with that. So, could it figure out fusion? Could it figure out warp drives? Could it figure out space travel? Yeah, that's the positive. Once you figure out fusion or any other energy source other than the current energy that we have, and um, I'm asking what are the civilization types 1 to 5. I can't remember and recall off the top, so I figured I think we're a type 1.7 or something like that. Um, so we are humanity is currently considered around the type 0.7 on the scale. So we're not even at 1. And that's a planetary civilization. An AI will take us maybe to a multiversal civilization if the multiverse, and it'll know, it'll prove it. Absolutely insane the ability that AI could possibly give us, right? So what are the benefits? Do the benefits outweigh the costs, right? And they might not. Let's just throw that out there too. All right, let's see. What's the next one? We can talk more about AI if you want another one, but I think we've beaten that dead horse because we've talked about what are the moral implications of creating. Oh, we talked about it a little bit, but it is an important factor. Do we craft laws? And then I mentioned earlier, even if we crafted the laws, we don't have the moral foundations. Think about our society today. We're so divided on a base moral philosophy that stealing is a gray area. Now, I'm not talking about the punishment. I'm talking about morally where we stand. Like stealing is bad, right? We should be able to say that, but some stealing is good. So it's a gray area. So we have a variance. The law thinks it's bad all the time, yet people still do it. We have different punishments for the severity of the crime, which I think is valid. However, morally, people will still do business with a thief. In the past, I would imagine that if the societies were so small and the villages were so small, that a thief probably wouldn't be able to survive long in that village. They'd have to leave because nobody would trust them. There would have to be a significant change in their behavior for the village to trust them again, right? So, and would they be given the opportunity? So, my point is moral implications of creating an autonomous AI. Whose morals at this point? Nobody seems to want to pin down their own morals. I blame part of this in not following a religion, not any religion, because they all have some type of moral foundation, something that tells us that when we die, we will be judged based on our actions here on earth. And there has to be some type of justice upcomings that prevents us from doing bad things. Well, if we say you can't create an autonomous AI, and people go, okay, and then they create one. Wow. Well, here's an argument. What if we said, yeah, go ahead, but here are the conditions and the regulations? Well, again, you can undermine those regulations. So I don't believe that would be effective, especially if somebody thinks then autonomous AI, a singularity, will make them a quadrillionaire because that's what they would be. It would be absolutely insane the amount of money they would be making. We'd have robots. We'd have androids more than likely. If you want a utopia like Star Trek The Next Generation, you need a shift, a core shift in the fundamental beliefs of humans. Gene Roddenberry believed that that shift was created by a horrible war that almost ended humanity. And then from the ashes, people decided we got to stop this stuff. We're just gonna. This is the way we're gonna act. This is the way we're gonna do things. This is the way we're gonna treat people with respect, with humanity. We're going to derive systems based off of people's passions. Once we get a certain level of technology, we may be able to implement something to that effect. Technically, I think, and you can I think the canon was that Starfleet officers actually did get paid because they wouldn't be able to go to another civilization that used the money if they didn't get paid, right? I don't think they cared because what would they spend the money on? I mean, we literally had the Enterprise and replicators, so they could replicate anything they wanted. They had if they wanted to go on vacation in the next generation, they just go to the holodeck, or they would take a shuttle to an entire pleasure planet that was basically like Hawaii, essentially. But my point is, AI could be that catalyst that thrusts us into that new age. It could figure out a lot of our problems so long as it learned. Remember, our data, garbage in, garbage out. So we have to be able to determine what is garbage and what is not garbage. And that's part of I think, the ethics that we have to create. If somebody codes something, I believe, I mean, think about this. The AI has 1,000 to 10,000 plus IQ. If somebody codes in murder is good, the AI is going to be like, no, it's not. It's not going to say, yeah, I'm going to learn that and I'm going to be really good at it. No, you can't even conceive of 1,000 plus IQ. I mean, Hollywood tries to do a decent job at creating high IQ characters, right? And it's interesting because they really try, but they don't have 160 plus IQs, right? So they're not going to be able to actually show us or convey that. So the ethics of artificial, should there be? Yes. However, I'm going to put the big caveat that our moral and ethical belief systems, our foundations right now are not, they're not on solid ground. It's more like Monty Python's "we built it in a swamp" scenario. I think we have to come together and say, guys, this is meeting of the minds here. Something has to change. And it's not about give or take. It's about moral and ethical foundations. Do we lie? Yes. Oh, under what circumstances? Do we use aggression? Yes. Well, under what circumstances? Social aggression, I would say, is negative. No, under no circumstances, save defense, should we ever use aggression. Of course you want to defend because unless you're a determinist, well, my life was supposed to end here, so I shouldn't defend myself. Or I got into this position, so I'm going to have to defend myself. And yeah, it's not a good example of determinism. I thought it'd be sly. I'm not. Okay. All right, where are we? We have, yeah, we have 5 more. Wait. I'm hoping to skill this up. I am expending so much steel. And I am definitely not going to lay an S. I refuse. I will not do it. I will not journey into that hell. It's basically, it's worse. It's worse than what I'm talking about. A society without morals. I'm going to build my house. Well, somebody comes up, I'm going to kill you. Okay. Awesome. So we can't build our houses. All right, let's see. Existentialism and the meaning of life. Now that we kind of explored with free will and determinism, right? What is the meaning of life? So let's take this question, but we'll do it from a free will point of view. Otherwise, I don't think we can actually. Let me have to ask ChatGPT. Could we contemplate the meaning of life if we are feminists? I'm kind of curious. I don't think so. I mean, there is no meaning if you, in my opinion, if so, everything's navigated for you or preordained. I don't believe so. Let's see what the see what ChatGPT says. And I'll be making. Man, I'm making so many of these. Okay, so let's see. There we go. Weaponsmithing. I'm almost there. We gotta go. Gotta go. Gotta do this. So close. Might need some steel nails after this. Okay. So it's saying yes, you can. Determinants can still contemplate the meaning of life, though their approach might differ from those who believe in free will. Determinism doesn't inherently negate life's meaning. Rather, it influences how the meaning is perceived and where individuals might derive it from. Boy, they're going to have to argue that one with me. Meaning through cause and effect. Determinism suggests that all events, including human actions, are shaped by prior causes. This view doesn't deny that life can have meaning. It simply proposes that the meaning may arise from the claim of causes that shape the individual's unique path. The meaning, quote unquote, of one's life could be seen as how one's actions influence the ongoing web of cause and effect in the world. Boy, they're stretching that thought. That doesn't sound logical to me. All right, so but we're gonna do it from a free will perspective. I'm gonna have to read that because there's a lot. It spent a lot of time trying to explain that one to me, and I want to give it a. Like I said, I give things a chance. Let me see. I don't believe. All right, so existentialism and the meaning of life. In free will, we would mean the meaning of what is the meaning? What is our purpose? What is the meaning of life itself? Well, I approach this on a few different paths. One path is we are always here for a purpose. And one of my beliefs, and not everybody believes this, but there's been enough near-death experiences that I've listened to. And I've listened to probably hundreds. Now, I don't believe 100% of them 100% of the time. However, many, if not a plurality, no, more than the plurality, a majority of them have the same experience. And they all come back, some of them, I should say, come back and say that we chose to come to Earth for a purpose. Once that purpose is served, we are called back to the consciousness or God, depending on how you want to frame it or what you believe in. Right? So the meaning of life may be for the universe to learn about itself. We bring our learning, our experience back to the universe or God, and we add our experiences to the consciousness of the universe. Makes sense, right? Which means, what is our purpose? It can be as simple as, on my 40th birthday, I'm going to tie my shoelace for the last time. And then you die somehow after that event, right? I'm not saying that happens, but maybe, because there were a lot of NDAs or NDEs that said they brought back a purpose or brought back their purpose, what they originally came to Earth for, and missed their path, right? Because of whatever. And to me, that inherently, it's not determinism, but free will. Just rolling it back to a previous conversation. So if we think about existentialism and the meaning of life, that's the way I kind of perceive it. Is there a meaning of life? Yes. There's got to be. Because we're conscious beings. If we had no consciousness, would there be a meaning of life? I think that meaning would simply be born, procreate, die. With a few fillers there, a few sub variables, eat, sleep, run, fight, maintain your aliveness for as your aliveness, maintain your, I crack myself up, maintain your life for as long as possible, right? That's interesting. Meaning of life. It's been contemplated since humans looked up at the sky, I'm sure. Yeah. We're going to move on because that's huge. That's a huge topic. Maybe we'll save it for an entire podcast, because what I'd love to do is get somebody on the podcast and see if we can talk to them at the same time. That would be kind of cool. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's see. What's the next thing they give me? The problem of evil. If benevolent and omnipotent deity exists, why is there evil in the world? That's a stupid question. And I mean, but what I mean by stupid is the problem with evil. Well, evil. All right. So first, you have to believe there's good and there's evil. So we have to start the conversation with everybody believing there's a good and there's an evil. There's no gray, or there is gray, but you either do wrong or you do right. Right? And maybe there's no gray. I mean, honestly, if it's evil to kill, it's evil to kill. But it's not. And I'll explain that. In the original text of the Ten Commandments, for example, thou shalt not kill was misinterpreted. It was originally the word, and I got this from Dennis Prager himself. The word was, and I verified it, because I don't believe him, so let me go do my research, right? So there's two words in the original text that meant kill, and one meant murder. In this case, it was written murder. So thou shalt not murder. So is murdering evil? No. Murdering can be good when applied to saving others, or oneself, technically. you're defending yourself. It's not evil to defend yourself. That would be ridiculous. One of the misnomers, in my opinion, that people think that Christians are pacifists. In Rome during the Colosseum days, the Christians were persecuted and put into pits, and they did not fight back because they thought, "Thou shalt not kill." But it was, "Thou shalt not murder." Whoever spread that lie cost the lives of many, many, many people. The fight we have in us as humans, we literally have a reptilian brain almost, right? And that's how it's explained. It's not an actual reptilian brain, but it's leftover, right? Through evolution, or people say that scientists say this part of the brain, you have fight or flight. That's basically it. Um, there is a neutral in there. So there is a neutral here, and that's that you're overloaded so much that you don't move at all, and that is a very real possibility. So the so when we're talking about the problem of evil, there isn't a problem of evil if you believe in a deity or a greater purpose or even the universe itself or consciousness. Evil is evil. The punishment of evil, that could be debated, I'm sure, because if we believe we're here for a purpose that we designed from the creator themselves, who gave us permission to come to earth to learn, perhaps that trigger was evil. We were supposed to do it. It's a weird concept, right? And I don't like it. It's icky. However, that could be, right? But as far as an omnipotent deity, let's call him God. We'll use the Judeo-Christian God, right? Or even Allah, right? It doesn't matter. Whichever God you want to pronounce. There is a good, there's good and evil. They state it, right? They state what is good and what is evil. Philosophies are and religions are very fundamental. They're beliefs, right? And when you believe something, you have a mild belief or you have an extreme belief. And that's true for everything, right? Some people like to dive into beliefs. Some people like to just skirt the edges of them because they have good doctrine. I don't think there's a challenge that evil poses because God would rather you follow his lead than do evil. But free will is provided. And there are evil people that propagate evil people. Meaning, I don't, sometimes the brain can break and you get evil people from a non-evil environment. Some people believe in demons and devils. Some people believe in Satan. If you believe in good, you have to believe in evil, right? But the way the Christians at least believe, when Lucifer was cast down, he was nowhere near as powerful as the God of the universe. So it's interesting that people attribute evil to him. I think he's the Lord over all of evil. He might even send his minions to foster it. However, it's free will in the end that will save someone from doing evil. Let's see. Well, we can talk about that more, but that's my thoughts on that one. And then, because we're talking about this, let's talk about. I want to talk about belief for a second because it's very important that people. What is belief, belief is defined as and what can change beliefs. So, on the second question, what can change beliefs in your life? There's a couple of things that I learned, and I'm wondering if ChatGPT will actually show those. Um, so, belief is a conviction of acceptance that something is real or true or real, often without immediate proof. Yeah, I agree with that. That and belief is not faith. Without immediate proof, bears the fruit of faith. So if you believe something and you have faith in it, then you believe the faith exists as a whole, the two components, in my opinion. Let's see, factors that can change belief. New information and learning. Yes, if you're open-minded. There's a big caveat there. There's a big footnote there, and I don't know why it didn't. It says exposure to new knowledge, facts, or perspectives can challenge and reshape existing beliefs, especially if the new information offers compelling or evidence-backed perspective. Absolutely not. I gotta disagree. Should it? Yes. Will it? No. People have a tendency to dig in when they are wrong. Let me say that again. And maybe I've done it. Maybe some, people listening have also shared this experience. The fact is, when people look at beliefs, fundamental information or learning information, even if it smacks them in the face with the opposite of what they believe, they will dig their heels in and say, nope, the sky is blue. No, the sky is green. Literally, let's go outside, look up. Is the sky blue? Nope, it isn't. They will dig in their heels. Or so that's the flight mechanism I was talking about. The fight is no, it isn't. Let's fight. My ideas will trump your ideas because I'm a better fighter than you are. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't like that. I like to think that new information can change my beliefs, but I also prepare myself for that new information and the fact that should change my beliefs. If it's resounding, I'm not going to say, let's say for a fact, it is new information that has facts and it's evidence backed. I have to change it. In my mind, I have to change my beliefs. Now, today's world is so divisive that even data is questions. You know what I mean? And I say that asking the question, do you agree with me? If I look at a data set today, I question it. It's evidence for sure, but it's not absolute because somebody more than likely has an agenda, a bias, and that bias is reflected in the data. So I'm inclined to not to ask the questions more. I'm getting more experience out of the moderate than I am at the easy, so I'm going to go to the moderate again. So new information, personal experience, life events, especially impactful or transformative ones, transformative ones can significantly alter beliefs. Absolutely, 100%. Let's think about that. Marriage, definitely. Death in the family, definitely. A death that you see in real life, definitely. What else could alter your beliefs? Having a child definitely can alter your beliefs. These are fundamental things. These are core values that you hold until something challenges those core values in such a impactful way. So personal experience is probably the number one thing that can change beliefs. If you're assaulted, changing your belief. Absolutely, 100%. 100%. I am 100% behind this one. Yes. And I think there's only like 5 or 6 categories that they found that really are the catalysts for it, but I can't remember what those. I did name a few, but I can't remember all of them. So just don't mind. All right, let's continue doing this. We're doing good, even though I'm going through my steel. I'm going through my steel. I'm crying. There's a tear. How much steel I've gone through. Oh boy, that's all right. That's what it's there for. Actually, I gotta replenish my nails too. So let's do that. So I'll do 10 on the nails, right? Everything is steel bar though. That's the nice part. Okay. So we have for factors that can change beliefs. We have new information and learning, personal experience, cognitive dissonance. What does that mean? If the personal belief conflicts with their actions or experiences, it creates a cognitive dissonance. To resolve this discomfort, people may adjust their beliefs to align more closely with the reality or their behavior. Hmm. All right, so little prompt engineering. I asked, what are some examples of each? Place the factors, definition, and examples in a chart. And what ChatGPT will do, it will give me the definition of the belief and then give me the factor, describe it, an example, all on one page, so I don't have to keep scrolling up and down or asking another question. So it actually provides. So a smoker who learns about the health risks may either quit smoking or downplay the risks to resolve cognitive dissonance. That makes sense. I've seen a lot of smokers do that. Like, they're not that bad. And then sometimes nothing happens, but I'd say plurality of times something happens to help. Let's see. So relationships and social influence. So influence from family, friends, or community that can alter beliefs. Sure. A person raised in a specific religion may adopt different beliefs after close friends introduce new spiritual ideas. Yeah, I would say not as much, but yeah, for sure. I don't like their example, but I agree with the relationship and social influence. Like I said, when you get married, you can change your beliefs. Why? That's social influence. So yeah, self-reflection and introspection. And this is what the channel is based on. No, I'm kidding. I would like everybody to be able to turn to this channel and use it as entertaining and maybe thought provoking. So I might, like I said, I might get things wrong. I'm not really worried about it too much. But again, where I change my beliefs, I'm giving you the keys to everybody, not just to yourself. Let's see. So reflecting on career goals might lead someone to change their belief in what success means, to them shifting from financial responsibility to personal fulfillment. I don't like the example. Self-reflection and introspection. It's when you ask questions about your what fundamental beliefs. If somebody approaches you and you're like, and you question it first, it might be a belief, but you question it. You have to ask the question. And if those answers are not attuned to your beliefs, or you can smell, somebody burning something, then yeah, then you can change your beliefs. Trauma or crisis, yeah, major challenges or traumatic events that shake the foundational belief. So, funeral, losing a loved one, belief in fairness in life, leading to them to adopt a different view on life's meaning. I could tell you stories from the past, past year, honestly. I almost didn't. Why did it go to? They gotta fix that. I was only crafting one, not crafting all. I didn't hit V. We'll go down to 40. What I'd love to do is see the game developers give us the opportunity to tell them which ones we actually want to, how many in the crafting that we want to do. But anyway, the amount, the volume. Trauma or crisis. All right, so we've got new information and learning, personal experiences, cognitive dissonance, and you know what? I'm listing these, and I'm like, what is my sound like? And I had to put on the monitor to see that I am doing okay. All right, so cognitive dissonance, relationships and social influence, reflection, self-reflection and introspection, trauma or crisis, major challenges or traumatic events that shake the foundational beliefs, and that's the losing the loved one, for sure. Environmental and the environment and culture. Cultural or environmental exposure that introduces different norms and beliefs. Going to another country might change your beliefs. I don't know about that. I'm not so sure. If it's a survival mechanism, maybe, but I'm not so sure on the environment and culture. Like if I were going to another planet, yeah, it's a survival mechanism. They have a different culture. Environment, I could see like if I was to live in a desert, I would definitely change some core beliefs, like showers, right? That's a core belief, really is. But yeah, I can see it, but I'm not so sure I'll believe because a belief is a foundation. It's fundamental. It's a conviction or acceptance that something is true or real. It's acceptance. So anyway, spiritual or philosophical exploration. Oh, for sure. If you're out to learn, right, then you're more open to changing your beliefs. Not saying anyone is better over another, right? We're not saying that at all. But we are saying that the simple act of exploring and questioning, again, questions, those are the fundamental mechanisms that will change your beliefs or attempt to change your beliefs or challenge your beliefs. They might change it. Challenge is good too. You don't want to. That is okay too, right? Let's see. What else do we got? Talked about beliefs. And let's see, what do we got? An hour and a half on the podcast, right? So maybe we'll go a little bit longer. I want to see if I can get up to a certain level, at least 25, right? So I just made 24 on weaponsmithing. These are trivial. I'm getting blacksmithing. I'm hoping maybe I go up in blacksmithing eventually as well. That'd be kind of. Let's see what that would take. So my blacksmithing is at 29 almost. So that would be cool if it did. My armor smithing needs to go up, and weaponsmithing is just starting out. So at 24. So Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot of steel to get through armor. Armor's. Oh no, I want this one. Yeah, mine spears are very hard. One-handed. 20 and 18. I don't want to try for that just yet. But what I really want to do is this one. That would be really cool to do. But it's still, if I get to modder, I'll try it. Not yet. Not yet. Next level, maybe. A crude axe. Hmm. Hmm. Here we go. Okay. Let's see. What other topics do we have tonight? Here we go. Theories of justice. What is a fair society? The topic examines different views on justice, such as distributive justice, retributive justice, and social contract theory. I don't know about those. Uh, that's. I know what justice looks like. What are let's see what yeah we're on a journey to learn, right? So let's plug them in. All right, so distributive justice is concerned with the fair allocation of resources and benefits within a society. It addresses how wealth, opportunities, and privileges should be distributed. Progressive taxation aims to distribute wealth more equitably by taxing higher incomes at higher rates to fund public services. They're not going. You guys are probably not going to like my answer on that. I'm more libertarian on that. Retributive justice focuses on punishing wrongdoers in proportion to their offenses, ensuring that punishment is fair and fits the crime. It aims to deter crime and deliver justice. Why did they put justice in the definition? Stop that. Example, sentencing guidelines in criminal law aim to impose proportional punishments like imprisonment for serious crimes and fines for lesser offenses. I got a lot to say about that. Social contract theory, a psychological, philosophical theory suggesting that people give up certain freedoms and consent to be governed in exchange for social order and protection of rights. Citizens follow laws, traffic laws, and in return receive protection and societal benefits like safety and infrastructure from the government. This is all born from what question? I got to look at it again. That was a that's very academic. Um, Theories of justice. What is fair in society? Ah, boy, that goes back to the beliefs I was talking about. It's the foundation of beliefs within the society that are going to define and going to structure your philosophy toward justice, right? Some of us are going to say distributive justice, yay. Some are going to say retributive justice, yay. Others are going to be like, yeah, no. Justice is, yeah, definitely belief driven. For example, punishing wrongdoers. Is jail appropriate? Is that a punitive punishment or a what do we call it? A rehabilitation. And is there a difference? I would say we have to look at humanity, right? The founders of the country, of the America, of the US, said very eloquently that you're innocent until proven guilty. Benjamin Franklin used Blackmore's formulation and said, I'd rather see, I think it was 100 men that were, were wrongdoers go free than an innocent man jailed, than one innocent man jailed. I tend to agree with that. And the reason I agree with that is because to jail an innocent man And when we say man doesn't matter. When we jail an innocent human, we take away their humanity in a way. And this is one thing that the founders decided early on. There should be no cruel or unusual punishment. Now, we hear stories back in the day that people who caused an accident needed to repair a person's or make them whole. Right? If they were injured, they'd have to pay for the injuries. If the vehicle was damaged, they'd have to pay for the vehicle. Even what if it's through malice? I hit somebody through malice, not by accident, but through malice. Because we do that today, right? Today we have insurance. Back in the day we didn't, but the courts would decide, look, you have to pay restitution essentially and make this person whole. And I agree with that. That's not cruel and unusual. That's your responsibility. You created the accident, or if you were found at fault of the accident, it made sense, right? You're making somebody whole. Let's say you actually hit them on purpose. Well, that elevates it, right? Are you trying to kill them? Were you trying to do the damage? I think restitution is still on the table. However, like the definition or the example says, you have to well, the definition says the punishment is fair and fits the crime. It's important, right? So if there's no victim, literally, if there's no victim, I don't say there's no crime, but is the question, is there a crime, really? It really is a valid question. Is there a crime if he is affected, right? So when we talk about crime and punishment, I think in the United States we jail far too many people for low, well, for crimes that. Now, back in the day, we had chain gangs, which were the people who were punished by hard labor. Right? If you screwed up, you had hard labor. You know, is it? But I think the courts deem that as cruel and unusual hard labor. I'm not so sure that should apply. So it was hard labor considered and unusual. I think it was. And also, was the question I had was, yeah, I think it was in the end when, yeah, let's go with that question. It's fun. I think it's foundational to the conversation. Yeah, of course it did. Hard labor has a complex history in relation to the concept of cruel and unusual punishment. Yes, it does. Early use of hard labor. So in the 18th and 19th century, hard labor was widely accepted in the United States and other countries as a legitimate form of punishment, especially for lesser crimes or as an alternative to incarceration. Hard labor was intended for both punitive and rehabilitative, believed to install discipline and work ethic in convicts. I don't think that achieved it. That's probably why they got rid of it. Oh boy. All right, so So by the mid 20th century, social views on punishment began to shift. Legal standards for what constitutes it was particularly under the Eighth Amendment, which is the safeguard against cruel and unusual punishment. Court cases. U.S. Supreme Court had not issued a blanket ruling deeming hard labor cruel and unusual, but specific cases refined standards around the punishment severity, such as Trop versus Dulles in 1958 and Furman versus Georgia in 1972. The court emphasized that punishments must align with society's evolving standards of decency, moving toward more humane treatment of convicts. Wow, that is. I'm curious on if they actually got the court cases right, but more importantly, if it did, I'd love to read those because that seems a little bit vague. Yeah. So basically, what ChatGPT is saying is it was not always considered cruel and unusual, but we've evolved. So it's largely viewed as inhumane or excessive. And we're talking about a punitive justice system, right? And if you're, well, first of all, let's talk about what things can place you in jail. And if it's a nonviolent crime or a crime of not listening to somebody, yeah, it shouldn't place you. You shouldn't be under arrest. You shouldn't be anything. You still have to answer for it, but I don't believe that you should go into jail at any time. Non-compliance, especially in my view, to an officer, if you've done nothing wrong, and they're the judge and jury that say you are wrong and they've convicted you and arrest you, because that's what they do, right? I mean, that's not everybody, not all. God, I can't believe I have to say the not all part. But there's been a, and the internet does filter through the worst cases and the worst violators, especially in the profession of policing. But it's almost as if our punishment is the lawfare, right? If you're innocent and you have to prove your innocence, because that's what you have to do. You have to prove your innocence. I can't believe that's where we are today. In days of old, you were innocent until proven guilty, even if the evidence was laid bare in front of everybody. You still had to be convicted by a jury of your peers, right? So I don't know. We can talk about this a little bit more. I don't think we'll get into anything really tonight that would offer any great insight into this because it's such a big topic of justice. Where did we end up on skills though? Armor smithing? No, we didn't do any. Weaponsmithing. So we're almost at 25. Now let's go up here. Let's see where we are on. I think I'm down to my last 4, honestly. So I'm gonna have to take one of our, like tomorrow. I will be streaming. God, I'm thinking, where do I put this piece of metal? Right. Anyway, so we'll be streaming tomorrow night, and I'm gonna need to. Looks like I'm gonna need to get ore. That's gonna be the biggie. Ore is gonna be the biggie because I have no ore left, and I don't think I have any over here. I had so much ore at one time. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's call it a night here. It's been like an hour 45. So thanks for hanging out with me. If you are, I haven't even checked my YouTube streaming channel. Yeah, no views yet. No live viewers. That's all right. I'm happy to that you came and you stayed this long. If you did pick this up on the YouTube channel itself, if you like the if you like the conversations or you want to be part of the conversations, join us. I'll be like I said, I'll be live tomorrow, and then in yeah, we still have a couple games that we want to play. So tomorrow is November 4th. November 5th is election day here in the United States, and that's when the new game drops. So we won't be able to play until at a minimum Thursday. Now it's going to be Friday next week. So sorry about that. Uh, we will do it, and we'll go over some of the gaming aspects, and hopefully we will visit a clan that we could possibly join and be dynamic, more dynamic. I'm not sure if I want to do the clans until 1.0, honestly. I'm not sure. Maybe we get the experience and see what happens, because you can create parties, you can go kill monsters and everything, and it looks like it's a lot of fun. It really does. Let's see what else. So subscribe if you really like it and you want to see some of these live shows. I will sometimes manage the broadcast, and you'll get a notification of when I'm going live. I got to figure out a little bit more on my schedule so I can provide a schedule to everybody, so those who do subscribe get a little notification when I'm going to go live. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on X. I do LinkedIn under the same name, so if you do go to LinkedIn and look me up, I highly advise or recommend that you look at my articles that I've written. I've written quite a few. I'm writing another one. If you have any ideas about those articles, we can talk about them here, or you can slip them in my DMs and we can talk, and I can write them, right? See if they're interesting, or I may craft the question a little bit differently than it is proposed to me. But I agree that everything should be discussed, especially in business. What else is going on? Yeah, subscribe. I'm trying to think of any other. I am on Rumble, but let me see if I can get that Rumble channel. I don't post anything on Rumble. I posted a few things, but I really have to get. I should start posting on the Rumble again. What else is going on? Yeah, those are the big things this week. Remember, tonight was daylight savings, so it's technically midnight for me because my body's not used to it yet. Until next time, I'll leave you with the outro, which again, Suno AI. I'm going to get a channel once I get enough material, and I want to try to make videos for the songs. I just don't want something scrolling on the screen. I tried to make one, and I was like, it looks more like a slideshow than a music video. So let me think about it, how to get that video created for a couple of the songs, and I'll start to apply those songs. Like I said, AI songs are really good now, and I highly advise at least listening to the content of the song, because the content is what I really want people to listen to. I've done many songs on different topics, especially how I felt, right? And how I feel about certain things. I might now write one on justice. So, because justice is huge. It's just a huge topic. Okay, let's do this. Subscribe, come back tomorrow. I'll leave you with the outro. Until then, be safe, everyone, and be kind to each other. Let's change the culture.
With every step, a lesson learned. From fire's heat to the fields I've turned. The blade and bow, the forge and flame. I sharpen my skills, I play the game. Each day brings a challenge I must face. I train my hands with careful grace. From alchemy's art to the hunter's way, I'll find the strength to seize the day. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. From the herbs I find to the iron I mold, each lesson learned is a story told. The stars above, they guide my hand. As I hone my craft, I take my stand. In the quiet woods, in the mountains chill, I push myself, I shape my will. With each new tool and every lore, I'm stronger now than I was before. I carve my path, I walk the line, in the shadow of the ancient sign. Through trial and toil I'll find my way, learning more with each passing day. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight. The road is long, but I won't turn back. The lessons I learned keep me on track. With each new skill, the stronger I grow. In the face of the storm, I let my courage show. I've tasted defeat, I felt the sting, but I rise again with each new spring. For knowledge is power, and wisdom the key. I'm forging my path, I'm breaking free. The skill of survival, the will to thrive, in a world where the strong survive. I'll face the night, I'll take the chance. I'm ready to fight, to learn to dance. For every strike and every fall, I'm building my strength, I'm standing tall. In the heart of the wild and the calm of the night, I gather my skills, I'm ready to fight.